Welcome back to A Nerd, a Teacher, and a Hockey Player, a relevant yet irreverent look at business, technology, and life in Wichita or wherever you may be. I'm Paul. I'm the nerd.
I'm Kimber. I'm the teacher.
And I'm Jeff. I'm the hockey player.
So, Jeff, tell me about the shirt you're wearing.
Today, my concert t-shirt is Break a Leg Tour from the Foo Fighters.
Right on.
Yeah, Dave Grohl fell off the stage, broke his leg. I got to see that tour when after he was in the cast and in his big chair with all the guitars. It was fun. It was fun right here at good old Wichita.
Awesome.
He's an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sporting the Eagles because, again, I'm the OG on the team. So I got to see all the good old bands. This was actually the first time I saw the Eagles. It was in 2002, and we've seen them about 4 or 5 times since. But this was the last time we saw them with the entire original lineup.
Nice.
Kimber, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing Tool, who I saw at the Cotillion in 2002. Again, one of those, that little fake ID comes in handy.
Oh, my gosh.
It was a great show, though. It was the first show it ever been.
Okay, so let me make sure we're clear on this. You saw them in 2002 with a fake ID.
Yeah.
And I saw the Eagles in 2002, and I already had gray hair. Okay, this sucks. Let's move on. Okay. Kimber, what are we talking about today?
Oh, well, last time Jeff brought up that just because you can doesn't mean you should. And we're going on to the tech edition of that because I think that's really important.
Volume 2.
Yeah.
Yep, let's do it. The remix. Here we go.
Okay.
It is really easy to click, fine, yes, all. Ask me one more time. Yeah, I'll take all the cookies. Oh my gosh, fine, I'll click yes to this. Oh, there's this one more thing in here. Okay, fine, just yes. You just get this decision fatigue. But when it comes to data governance and things like that, those game time decisions are bad news bears.
I get you.
I'm not the technical person. This is my opinion. Somebody jump in and tell me that I'm wrong.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, you've got to understand what it is you're clicking on, why, what it's going to do to you. We did a blog post recently on permissions and, if you're answering yes, are you giving this AI tool full access to your business's data, full access to the salary database, all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's a great point that, just because you can click yes, just because you can download this piece of software that's supposed to make your life easier, doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Yeah. And I've been reading and hearing, that QR codes are now something that people are having to really watch out for. And, you used to be able, when you get an email, you can kind of mouse over who the email's coming from. You get to see who really it is, or you can mouse over the link and kind of see, what URL it's going to. But I'll be damned if I can read a QR code and know what the hell is in it. I mean, for all I can tell, it could be any. Oh, sorry, curse jar. Hell got me a curse jar?
No, you didn't.
You should have double dipped.
No shit. I only get my money's worth. It's all for a good cause. We curse for a cause at one source.
Okay, so you're saying QR codes are bad because?
Well, because you don't necessarily know where it's taking you. I mean, you take the shot of the QR code, it gives you the link. You don't really even look at the link. You just hit it, and you're off and you're going.
Because so many times they're shortened. It'll be a Bitly link or some URL shortener or something like that.
So you really don't know, and so yeah, QR codes. I'm bad about it. I'll admit I don't stop and think always when there's a QR code. Especially like, okay, you walk into I know COVID's, in a good spot, a better spot. But, even if you go into a restaurant and there's a QR code for their menu, how do you know it's their menu? I mean, until you're there. But what if it wasn't?
Hey, I got an idea. How about we print up a bunch of QR codes and we find out what restaurant the good employees that work for a competitor of ours and or our target customers work at, and we replace all of those barcodes on the tables with ones that lead to our website.
Perfect. Let's do it. Kimber, is that unethical?
Yes.
Oh,
actually.
Never mind.
I mean, you could absolutely be like, oh, I caught you lacking. Try again. Now you're getting security awareness training. But when they first put up the QR codes for parking over here at the downtown parking, you scan the QR code. I was like, oh, I'll just do this. I was with someone who was like very technical. I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Go to the App Store. Find the app, download it that way. Do not scan that QR code. Do you know how easy it would be to just go in and do it? It's this whole lecture. And I was like, Should I be afraid to be alive in the world that I'm in? Yes. Yes, you should. Don't scan anything.
As downtown and the city makes more moves towards paved parking, I think that's going to be more and more of a thing. And there are going to be barcodes everywhere that say, park here, scan this barcode. I think probably the thing I do, because I'm used to seeing those also, the thing I do that gives me a little bit of reassurance is the fingernail test. I walk up to the barcode on the sign and I pick at it with a fingernail. And if it doesn't come off or doesn't act like it's going to come off, it's probably the one that was printed there and it's probably okay. But if it kind of peels off or doesn't look 100% legit, it's probably one that Jeff that Jeff put there by on purpose to
get you to a website.
To get me to a website.
That's right.
Whatever that website Jeff has out there is.
What a technical approach. Yeah. The fingernail test.
The fingernail test, yes, sir.
Don't mouse over it. Don't fingernail. I'm going to start using it. I got to grow my nails.
Just carry a dime.
There you go. Or a knife.
A knife. There you go.
Yeah.
If you need bail money for the time you get arrested for vandalizing one of the city signs, I don't know if we necessarily have enough in here to cover you for that.
I'm calling you Paul.
Oh no! Be like, sorry, Wichita Children's Home. We had all this cursing for a cause money for you, but
Jeff
we spent it for Jeff.
Jeff went and fucked up and got put in jail.
Here we go. You keep talking like that. We'll definitely have
Exactly. Okay. Just note to self: I've got 75 cents, so watch your mouth, Jeff.
Oh,
and to kind of tie this all back and kind of unsquirrel us for a minute. We had something like this come up just at the office the other day. One of our clients put in a ticket that said, "Hey, I'm trying to get Zoom to connect to email with Office 365 to do this thing, to do this other thing," and we told them no. We need to talk about why. Just because you can do that, just because Zoom says, "Hey, I can do this for you," I just need to connect to your Office 365 world. The question is, should you? Do you want to give Zoom access to your Office 365 email today? Maybe it's benign today, but did you read the entire license agreement that says, if we want, we can harvest your data. If we want, we can harvest your contacts. If you want, we can continue to plug in and look at all this stuff for you. And by the way, we can change the rules of the game anytime we want, because you said, yes, you can change the rules anytime you want.
Right. I think about sometimes, beyond like the QR codes, but just all of the connected devices now, the Internet of Things, and those agreements. Because how many of you really read? Do you read them, Paul? Do you read them word for word, line for line to the very end and then said, I agree?
And I have a webcam in my house that watches my dog when she sleeps, so we can figure out what the dog's doing during the day while we're all gone. And I'm not sure if the folks at Webcam Company, whatever that is, are storing my dog's video or selling it to people in China with a dog fetish or something.
No.
Well, see, and here we go again, though. What? Like, why do you need your washing machine on your network? I mean, what the fuck are you going to learn from it?
You only have 75 cents.
We're gonna take all your money, man.
Can I borrow a quarter?
I'm gonna float you a quarter, but God.
I'm sorry. Should hit the ATM on the way here. But seriously, I mean, what does your oven need to be on your network for?
Okay. Single mom, doing it all. It's what my oven is from like 1962. This is not
so
possible
your oven's
for
not
me.
on the network.
But it would be really amazing. But oh man, it's going to take 25 minutes for the oven to preheat. I need to have dinner in the oven in 10 minutes. I'm still at the store. Am I going to call that teenager and be like, preheat the oven? Currently, that answer is yes.
Because you got an old oven.
Because I have a really old oven, but that doesn't always mean. Even then, I'd be like, hey, preheat the oven if you want to eat dinner tonight, and be like, I just thought I'd have cereal if I didn't do it. Like, okay, so I'm going to murder this human and then preheat the oven. It'd be really nice to pull the app up and say preheat and then be home to do that. I can understand that, but it's not going on my main network. You got to set a sub network. Is that the right word? A sub network?
Close enough.
There's a way that you can go into your app on your phone for your ISP, it's internet service provider. I am technical.
She is dropping some technical lingo.
And you can add something like that, and you just go over here and all that stuff, your thermostat, your anything else that isn't I'm never going to log into anything. And if anybody else, drives by and gets into this network, because it's all Bluetooth, because all these things need Bluetooth, it's okay. They can't. What are they going to do? They're going to preheat my oven for me. I appreciate you preheating my oven, random stranger.
Thank you for the preheat. No, I guess, that's kind of where things go sometimes with me. It's like, just because I can have my TV or my washing machine connected to my device or to my network doesn't mean I should, because I'm not going to get value out of that if there's really never been a need to preheat the oven before we get home or anything like that. Then why do it? Hell, maybe it's just paranoia. I don't know. I don't even have my smart TVs connected to my Wi-Fi.
But to throw on that tinfoil hat for a second, you think that everything in the world's a conspiracy. Do you have a smart thermostat?
I do. That I do have.
Does it adjust when you're not at home and cool the house down or be different than comfy time?
Full transparency, that one I do use. I have used that because occasionally you can check it out. You're coming back from a vacation, turn the thermostat down before you get there so that when you get there it's comfortable. I have done that.
So let's assume for a second the guy at Google or Nest or whoever is your smart thermostat company now has the statistics that say Jeff's not home. Jeff's not been home for the past 48 hours because his thermostat has kicked into away time, not comfy Jeff time.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Now I'm paranoid. I got to go unconnect that now.
I think it's more a balance of, to kind of bring it back home to reality. I think it's more of a balance of convenience and knowing
there you go.
And accepting the risk. You're choosing to accept the risk that somebody at Google knows that you're not home, along with another 4 million people that aren't home right now. Google knows that, and we trust them that they're not going to do something malicious with that. I don't necessarily know that the company that made the webcam in my dog's room isn't doing something malicious with that because they're not as name brandy and maybe
right.
I don't necessarily know that I've got that implicit trust with that particular vendor or the sketchy software vendor that put out the latest AI tool that wants to connect to my Office 365 account and tell me great things about the contacts I have.
Right. Yeah.
But then it boils down to whose information is it? You can make that decision if it's only your information. If you've got everybody else who's in your Office 365 or who's going to be in that meeting or who's going to, your clients, anybody else who could possibly have access to that, you didn't ask them if you could share it. And unless you're willing to take that risk.
And I think that's a great point. I've seen so many times that, especially in the past couple of years, the past year, that there are tools that plug into Zoom or Teams or whatever web conferencing tool you use that record that conference, record that video session, record that Teams call, whatever it is. And they're kind of cool from the standpoint of if, Jeff, you and I are on the same Teams call and you say, yeah, I'll take care of that. Or I'll take that task, or I'll reach out to that customer, or I'll reach out to that vendor, then this tool can come out with a summary of the things that have been delegated to you or you're taking responsibility for, the things that Kimber's taking responsibility for, and the things that I've said I've done. So it can make it more more productive to grab that information and summarize it. But if we're also talking about something confidential, I don't necessarily want that recorded and stuck in somebody's cloud somewhere that somebody else is going to potentially see when I've said, hey, this conversation, whether it's a client that's in the social services space or somebody in the finance space or something like that, those conversations may not need to be recorded, indexed, and certainly stored in Bob's AI company cloud.
Right. Comes down to kind of, again, is the juice worth the squeeze? Sometimes you got to look at it. Is it really worth it?
And I like Kimber's analogy earlier. It's kind of a game time decision. Right. You need to know who you're inviting to the party and if they're going to be a responsible guest.
Right. And especially when you maybe first get that product or that device or that thing, know when you're setting it up, because a lot of times it's accepted by default versus declined by default. I'll give a quick example. We have a smart bed that can rate your sleep. And so one time I come into say to my wife, I said, guess what? Your sleep number was this. And
No, wait a second. 5 minutes ago, you said your smart TV's not connected. Earlier, you said this smart device isn't connected. And now you've owned up to a smart thermostat and
a smart bed.
holy shit, a smart bed.
Yes. So, but this was this.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know the data that sucker's collecting.
Exactly. So my point to this is,
God, I hope there's a point.
There is. That first time I set up that smart bed, I didn't realize what was going on. They came, they delivered, it's all fine. Everything was turned on to begin with. Then I go ahead and inform my wife that you got a sleep score of 86 and your heartbeat rate was this and your breaths were this. And she's like, there are sensors that can tell my breath and heart rate in the bed. And she looked at me with these eyes and said, turn that fucking off now. Noted. And from there, the smart bed's been turned off since then. So my point again, to bring it all the way back around, is sometimes when you set it up, by default, it's on.
And I think that's a great way to wrap up episode 2 of Just Because She Can doesn't mean your wife thinks you should.
Well said. Well said.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, or subscribe. Leave us some comments. We'll see you next time.